Happy anniversary.
Speaking of nitpicking.
What now?
Oh. This one time.
So, this one time.
This one time?
You know what? This one time.
This one time.
Oh my god, this one time?
The podcast.
Hi Shivo, this is Anonymous from Ohio. I wonder if you might help me with a recent problem in my relationship. My husband and I have been married 11 years, but we've been together for 15. We've had our ups and downs as normal couples do, but lately it seems like everything he does, I try and find something to nitpick and argue over. In fact, I kind of enjoy it. But now I've moved on from nitpicking to a strange jealousness. When he says he's at a doctor's appointment, I call the doctor's office to confirm the appointment at the time he told me. He has lunch with his mum once a month, and even that makes me jealous. I feel like if I keep this up, it might end our relationship. What can I do to get our relationship back to it was? Thanks, guys. Bye.
That is a great question, Anonymous. Thanks for asking. I'm Sheila D.
And I am Evo Terra. Honey, that reminds me of, speaking of the nitpicking aspect of that one, nitpicking is a terrible thing in a relationship. Like the time when you were nitpicking me like crazy when we went to that horrible museum in Copenhagen.
I don't think I nitpicked.
You nitpicked on me the entire time we were there and yelled afterwards in a big way.
I didn't yell. I still haven't yelled.
You scowled.
I did scowl.
You scowled significantly.
But why?
You scowled significantly because you were nitpicking about the fact that I didn't really care for...
What?
That I didn't really care for the museum.
But were you pleasant? Or were you nitpicking about what was there?
Well, that's an interesting question. I felt I was pleasant. Now listen, you have to understand something, listener. I'm not much of a museum type person to start off with. Not that I have anything against art and culture or things like that, but it's just kind of not my scene. Second problem, Copenhagen was the second country we had been in during our travels
France
around the world.
First, Copenhagen.
It travels around the world in 2015. It was cold.
It was cold. It snowed that day. My
back was in terrible
yes,
pain.
That's true.
Could you understand those two things might have impacted my mood? No. All you could do was nitpick. So I totally get where our caller is coming from.
Honestly, I don't think I nitpicked you that day. And if we go back to the audio, I think you'll find that.
No, there's no audio. It's not possible for someone to go back to season 1 of our show, which we called The Opportunistic Travelers, and look at whatever episode it was. That's just simply not possible. Nope.
We wouldn't have that on our site, would we?
No, definitely not. So I get where she's coming from. I understand this whole nitpickiness thing.
But I don't think you've answered the full question.
I don't understand. What was the question again?
About jealousy.
I don't understand jealousy at all. I have nothing I can relate a jealousy story to, but I can relate to the whole nitpicking thing. And let me tell you something about relationships and doing crazy things like being married for 28 years. By the way, honey, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. As
we launch season 4 of our show this one time, we're happening to record it on May 27th, 2017, which is our 28th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Speaking of nitpicking...
What now?
No, if you're going to do it for 28 years, and if you're going to do crazy things like travel the world for a year, which means quit your jobs before that,
right?
And now, which means live abroad for a year and a half, literally thousands of miles away from your family and everybody that you knew up until...
And normalcy.
A year ago. Normalcy.
Yeah.
This is the new normal.
This is the new normal, but normalcy, like from what you grew up in, this is very different.
It would put a strain on a relationship.
Yes, it would.
Has it strained our relationship, my love?
Terribly. I've been meaning to talk to you about
See, you don't do the sarcasm thing worth a damn. You should you're the straight man on the show. Straight woman. Stick figure.
I'm a stick figure.
Yes.
only drawn as a stick figure.
Back to the question at hand. Nitpicking. Has it increased? Has it decreased over time?
Well, I would say I think it's decreased.
Have you nitpicked me on any of these travels that we have done other than Copenhagen?
Absolutely not.
Again, you suck at the sarcasm.
Let's turn it back.
Okay.
Have you nitpicked me?
Tell me, have I done that?
No, I turned it to you.
I understand, but do you have a situation where you feel I was the one that was being nitpicky?
I want to know what you think.
Look, the only thing I can nitpick over that you don't follow instructions.
I do follow instructions when they're important.
Well, back to Copenhagen at the museum, what did you like about that museum trip?
What
Other than my wonderful company?
I liked there was a big area where they had the big statues.
Yes, lots of statues.
Yeah, I
Right.
liked those. Those were interesting.
What were the statues of? To remind the listeners, tell them a little bit more about them other than just big statues.
They were historical.
Yep, they were not futuristic statues in a museum.
No.
You're right. They were history. Weird museums talk about history stuff like that. I mean, what period they were from?
A long, long time ago.
Now, see, this is where I could do some nitpicking about this stuff, right? So first off, they were, as I'm sure all of our listeners out there are shouting into their microphones, what culture is best known for its statues? That's right, the Romans.
Right.
It was Roman statues that were a room filled with Roman statues. What did you find fascinating about these statues?
I found fascinating the fact that parts were missing. Like noses were missing.
Yes.
Things like that.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting. Kind of like here in Ayutthaya, we saw the headless statues.
Of?
Buddha.
Yes.
Buddhist.
Now, between those two different stories, I will do Ayutthaya and I'll go back to Thailand or go back to Copenhagen in a moment.
Okay.
I agree that the Ayutthayan headless Buddhas were interesting, but A, because it was a mystery, and B, you wouldn't think that other Buddhists would, attack Buddhist symbols, because that's what happened when Ayutthaya was attacked by the Ayutthaya used to be the capital of Thailand some 300 years ago. The Burmese, now Myanmarese, I guess they are called today, came over and attacked, and everybody in Ayutthaya, Thailand, Siam at the time, fled. And what the Burmese did was knocked all the heads off the Buddha statues, which weirded me out for a while. Why would Buddhists, and they were Buddhists, the Burmese, knock the heads off of Buddha statues? And then we got some answers about that, which we'll share on another story, which made it interesting. But back to Copenhagen.
Yes.
With the statues and missing things. You found that interesting. What I found less interesting was that they found all of those missing pieces, and instead of doing what an irrational human would do, which would be reassemble those things, they just made giant collections of noses, for example. Noses made of alabaster or marble or whatever they make statues out of in ancient Roman times. Just a collection, just a 15-foot by 20-foot frame with just noses inside.
So what you're saying is you're a perfectionist.
No. Just when you can reassemble something. It's like if I had a broken teacup, I would not make a display of broken teacup pieces. I would either, A, fix a teacup or just go buy a goddamn new teacup.
Maybe you should make a giant elephant with 3 heads. There's one of our watts are made out of the chips of China.
Yes, they are. A third story. No, I don't want to tell a third story once again. I would like to keep these about a single story if
I think
we can.
you're nitpicking.
Yes. Yes, you're right. And I'm not so sure this entire new season format is actually going to work at all.
I'm not sure we answered that question fully, caller, but hopefully you took something away from the random story Evo told.
Hey, and listen, we're happy to take your questions as well, listeners, because that's kind of what we're doing here on this season, listening to what you say and finding a funny story of ours to tell about it. It's very simple. If you're on your computer, just simply go to shivo.wtf/ call us, all one word, and that'll take you to a page where you can leave a voicemail. It also works on your mobile device. It works on your tablet. You may have to install a quick little free app, but seriously, do it just like this caller did. Thank you very much, Anonymous, and for the question.
Every caller will get a free postcard from us, but we have fans every month that get a postcard currently from us.
That's right. If you sign up and get a postcard from us, it's a great way to show your support for our show and our continued travels around the world. It helps us keep this party going. Just go to shivo.wtf/postcards or patreon.com/OPP Travelers.
Our music is by Valea Valea.
Thanks for listening, listener. I am Evo Terra.
And I'm Sheila D.
Subscribe to the show and rate us at Apple Podcasts or wherever you found the show. More advice and life lessons coming from us next week on This One Time. Cheers!